There are athletes who play the game, and then there are athletes who win championships. But there's a very small group that comes along and completely changes the arena itself. Today, we are talking about the women who didn't just break records, they broke the entire pattern, paving the way for literally generations to come. So, let's get into it.
And this is really the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? For these pioneers, it wasn't about trying to fit into a structure that wasn't built for them. No, it was about interrupting the pattern, forcing the world to create a totally new one. And they answered this question with defiance, with pure dominance, and with a vision for what sports could and should be.
All right, to really get their impact, we have to take a step back and remember what the old arena actually looked like. For most of sports history, opportunities for women were, well, scarce, if they existed at all. And the barriers weren't just hurdles on a track. They were systemic, they were cultural, and they were literally written into the rulebooks.
So, where do you even start? Well, you begin by challenging the rules head-on. This first wave of game changers, they were the trailblazers who saw a no-entry sign and just decided to run right past it. And this story just perfectly captures that spirit. Back in 1967, Kathrine Switzer signed up for the Boston Marathon using her initials because, women were banned. When race officials famously tried to physically pull her off the course, she just kept running. That single act of defiance kicked off an incredible chain reaction. Just 5 years later, the ban was gone. And by 1984, the women's marathon was an official Olympic event, all from one runner. Now that is a pattern interruption. So while Switzer was breaking down barriers on the road, Billie Jean King was basically fighting a war on two fronts in the world of tennis. On one hand, she was building the actual institutions, fighting for equal prize money, co-founding the WTA. But she knew that wasn't enough. She had to change how people thought. And that led to the moment, the battle of the sexes. By beating Bobby Riggs in front of 90 million people, she proved once and for all that women's sports weren't some sideshow. They were the main event. Okay, so changing the rules was step one, but the next wave of athletes, they took things even further. They started setting records that were so dominant, so completely undeniable, that they just shattered any lingering arguments about who belonged in the arena. And just look at this. The thing that's so wild here is the sheer longevity. We're talking about Florence Griffith Joyner, Flo-Jo. Back in 1988, she set the world records for the 100 and 200-meter dash. Now look at that status column. Still standing. Decades later, with all the advances in training and tech, nobody has run faster. Her records aren't just numbers. They're a level of speed that, to this day, is just untouchable. And speaking of untouchable, let's talk about Diana Taurasi. For more than 20 years, her name has basically meant winning. The number right there tells you everything you need to know. 6. 6 Olympic gold medals. That's more than any other basketball player in history, man or woman. It's a career built on such sustained, ridiculous excellence that she became the benchmark for greatness in her sport. And this is what's so cool. Taurasi herself connects all that historic dominance to the real theme here. It was never just about the medals for her. It was about legacy. It was about taking that torch from the people who came before and carrying it forward for whoever was coming next. So that brings us to the modern era, to the new icons who are building on that very same foundation. They aren't just playing in the arena that the pioneers built for them. They are expanding it, using their platforms in totally new ways. So let's nail this down. A game changer is more than just a champion. Think about Lisa Leslie. When she became the first woman to dunk in a WNBA game, it was way more than just 2 points. It was this huge symbolic moment that helped legitimize an entire league, showing everybody that women could play with that same kind of power and flair. That's changing the game. And Chloe Kim is maybe the perfect example of this new definition of success. I mean, on the snow, her dominance is just absurd. Youngest to ever win Olympic gold, pushing the sport to its absolute technical limits. But then, look at the right side of the screen. Her impact off the snow is just as huge. By openly taking a break for her own mental health, she completely changed the conversation about what it means to be a champion. She showed that strength also means being vulnerable. Sometimes the impact of a game changer can be measured in just a single number. Back in 2014, a 13-year-old named Moan Davis stepped onto the pitcher's mound at the Little League World Series. The TV rating for her game was a 3.4. Now, that isn't just a big number for Little League. It was a record high for ESPN. It was a massive cultural moment happening in real time. So, what was the Moan Davis effect?
Well, it was about so much more than just a great performance. By pitching a shutout on that huge stage, she basically destroyed the whole idea of what it means to throw like a girl. She inspired millions and sent a message that couldn't be clearer. In the arena, talent is talent. Period.
Okay, so when you put it all together, what does this all add up to? Well, each one of these athletes, in their own unique way, added another brick to the foundation. And now you can really see the enduring legacy they've created for the entire world of sports. I mean, just look at the path they paved. You can draw a straight line from their actions to the reality of today. More visibility? That's not an accident. That's because Billie Jean King proved there was a huge audience. Professional leagues? They exist because pioneers demanded a place to play. And that powerful voice today's athletes have, it is standing directly on the shoulders of every woman who spoke up when it was hard and when it was unpopular. So we end up right back where we started, but with a totally new perspective. The arena isn't what it used to be, not even close. It's bigger, it's louder, and it's way more inclusive. The pattern has been broken. The arena has been changed. So the only question left is who's going to change it next?